Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. Bottom of the third inning. Airhogs lead it 3-1 over the Sioux Falls Canaries. Here on the road, second game of a three-game set on a Saturday afternoon. Well, really, it is a Saturday evening. Feels like an afternoon. Sun's still out. It's a great day for baseball. Originally, there was rain forecasted for earlier this afternoon, but that has stayed away here, thankfully. Next batter for Sioux Falls will be left fielder Brandon Jones. Batting second in the lineup, he'll be followed by A.J. Kirby Jones, the first baseman, and then Chris Duffy, the designated hitter. He takes ball one low from Trevor Harden, the starter. Jones struck out looking in the first. 1-0 pitch. Bounced on the ground to first base. Botts stabs at it and stops it. Flips to Harden, who covers the bag, and that is out number one. Heads up play there from Jason Botts, who normally does not play at first base. Earlier this season was used in the outfield, primarily in left, but has had to shift in at first base after the Airhogs let go of Andres Rodriguez earlier this week. Also due to some injuries, Paul McCart Jr. and Frazier Hall, both are on the DL for the Airhogs, as they're only down to 10 position players. One out, nobody on for A.J. Kirby Jones. He takes strike one on the inside corner on the first pitch. Kirby Jones, a two-out double in the first inning, and then he later scored after advancing to third on a wild pitch. Swings and misses at that next one from Trevor Harden. It's no balls and two strikes. With Chris Duffy on deck. This one is looped over the head of Jimmy Mojica into left center field. 2 for 2 on the night is Kirby Jones with a double and a single. Runner on first and one out for Chris Duffy, the next batter. He walked in the first inning. Airhogs so far have been out hit 4-3, but they've outscored the Canaries 3-1. One error committed in the field by Sioux Falls. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Harden from the stretch delivers the first pitch. It is outside to Duffy for ball one. Chris Duffy this year with 9 home runs. That's a share of the team lead with A.J. Kirby Jones. .267 batting average. Swing and a miss. He actually got a small piece of that on the foul tip. DeFazio able to handle it behind the dish. 1-1 the count. Trevor Harden peers over his shoulder at first base, now sets at the letters. Here's the 1-1. This one is hit hard on a line drive into right field. That's a base hit, and stopping at second base is Kirby Jones as right fielder Abel Nieves quickly to that ground ball. Back-to-back singles for the Canaries in the third. Trying to overcome a 2-run deficit. Carlos Mendez, who gave the Canaries their only run of the game so far in the first inning, is the next batter. RBI single driving in Kirby Jones with the runners at the corners. Mendez in last night's game was 0 for 4. Righty versus righty. Here's the first pitch from Harden. This is hit on the ground to shortstop. Mojica flip to Nunez. Throw to first base. Ends the inning on the double play. Nice job by the Airhogs infield to eliminate the threat by the Canaries in the third. No runs on 2 hits, a man left, and after 3, it is 3-1 Airhogs here in Sioux Falls. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. Welcome back to Sioux Falls here in South Dakota. Air Hogs on the road, leading 3-1 in the second of a three-game series. Here in the top of the fourth inning, Madison Carter leads it off for Grand Prairie. He walked and scored in the second inning. He'll be followed by Matthew Burns and Vince DeFazio in the lineup, 6, 7, 8 hitters. Ben Moore winds up. The first pitch is a strike called. Ben Moore, one of the most decorated pitchers in Sioux Falls history, holds team career records in wins and strikeouts. He also set single season league records in strikeouts in 2010 and 2011. Swing and a miss there by Carter. 1-2 the count to the rookie. Next pitch is slowly bounced to the right side. The pitcher Moore will come off of his mound to field it and a flip over to first base, just nabbing Carter for out number one. Next batter is Matthew Burns, who laid down a sacrifice bunt, moving Carter to second base in the second inning. Matthew Burns last night went 0 for 4. Now in his 11th start of the season for Grand Prairie. That is low on the first pitch for ball one. Actually, that was called a strike on the outside corner to Matthew Burns, who doesn't have a big strike zone, only 5'10". The rookie out of Northwestern State. Next pitch is also a strike on the inside edge this time. No balls and 2 strikes to the rookie, who will be followed by Vince DeFazio, who's on deck. Ben Moore from the windup delivers on the 0-2. Called strike 3, and quickly Ben Moore sits down. Matthew Burns on strikes, 2 down. Vince DeFazio will be the batter. DeFazio reached on an error by the shortstop in the second inning. Only error committed so far in this series by either team. Vince DeFazio didn't play last night. He was replaced for the start by Mitch Abeda. Strike one called to DeFazio. Abeda, the only bench player available for the Air Hogs in this game. Only 10 position players on the roster. 0-1 pitch to DeFazio. Outside, and it's now an even count at 1-1. Vince DeFazio this season batting .237, 14 runs batted in. Called strike 2 on the outside edge. A former Texas Rangers minor league prospect. Played for Low A Myrtle Beach in 2012. 1-2 pitch on the way. Just missing the high and inside corner has been Moore on that fastball. Now 2-2 to Vince DeFazio, who's 28 years old. Wind up in the 2-2 pitch. That is a chopper foul on the third base line. Eric Baker on deck for Grand Prairie. They lead it 3-1 in the top of the fourth. They were shut out last night 4-0, despite grabbing 8 hits. 2-2 pitch on the way. Swing and a miss on an inside changeup by Moore. And another 1-2-3 inning for the 33-year-old veteran on the mound. And we'll move to the bottom of the fourth with a 3-1 lead in favor of Grand Prairie. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. Bottom of the fourth inning. Airhogs with a 3-1 lead. They were shut out last night, trying to even the series at 1 apiece in this second game. Leading it off in the bottom of the fourth for Sioux Falls will be Chris Valencia, the center fielder, then followed by Stephen Branca, the shortstop, and Sam Lind, the second baseman. 6, 7, 8 hitters in the lineup for Sioux Falls, and the manager Steve Shirley. First pitch is lifted foul, straight back and out of play by Valencia. He flew out to left field in the first inning. Left-handed batter and the right-handed pitcher Trevor Harden, who delivers on the 0-1. This is just foul on the line drive on the first base line. First base umpire David Frame on the call. Strike 2 to Valencia, nothing in 2 the count. Valencia on the season, 269 hitter, couple of home runs and 23 RBIs. Wind up in the 0-2 from Trevor Harden. Again, lifted foul. Down the left side this time. Chris Valencia is from Torrance, California. Last year, a member of the Amarillo Sox. The 0-2 is lifted into shallow left, but Madison Carter in perfect position there. Only had to take a couple of steps in for that catch. Out number 1 in the fourth. Stephen Branca, the next batter. He popped up to shortstop in the second. 0 for 1 on the night. Last night, 1 for 3, scoring a run after a single. 262 hitter with a home run and 15 runs batted in. Looks like Vince DeFazio had to go back and get a different mask. Probably barring Mitch Abeda's catching mask. Here's the first pitch from Trevor Harden. That's a little upstairs to Branca. 1-0 the count. Airhogs are 15.5 games back of the Wichita Wingnuts at 21-32 on the season. Called strike 1 on the next pitch. 1-1 to Branca. Sam Lind on deck for the Canaries. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That one's a little inside. And the count moves to 2 balls and 1 strike. Sioux Falls, meanwhile, on the season, they have a record of 21-33. They're 14 back of Winnipeg in the North Division. That is bounced on the ground to shortstop. Mojica has to throw across his body. Just beats Branca by about a full step. And Mojica has a lot of experience and a very seasoned arm that he can really control very well. That's not an easy play, throwing across your body and perfectly over to first base. 2 outs on the ground out to shortstop. The next batter is Sam Lind, who singled in the second inning, and he will single once again up the middle. Bouncing off of the pitcher's mound. He is 2 for 2. Kevin Doltz is the next batter. Doltz grounded out to the catcher in the second. Doltz on the year, a .254 hitter. He's got a runner at first and now 2 outs in this bottom of the fourth inning. His team is down 3-1. Even though his team has out-hit the Airhogs 6-3 in this one. First pitch is lifted high in the air into foul territory on the right side. Jason Botts may have a play at it, but will not be able to reach that one as it bounces just a few rows back into the stands. Strike 1 to Doltz. Kevin Doltz shares time behind the dish with Matt Hitt. But he does get the bulk of the starts. Hit with only 5 games started this year. Hardin moves to first. The tag by Botts is not in time to nab the runner Branca. Or excuse me, that's Sam Lind, who only has 1 stolen base in 2 attempts this year. Hardin now sets from the stretch. The 0-1 is on the way. Line drive into center field over the head of Mojica. Couple of singles once again for the Sioux Falls Canaries here in this 4th inning. They had back-to-back singles in the 3rd as well, but were not able to capitalize with a run across the board. Their only run scored came in the 4th inning. They do have runners at first and second with 2 outs, and the top of the order back to the plate. Steve Tinoco 0 for 2, a strikeout and a fly out to center. But last night he hit a 3-run home run in the 5th inning that gave Sioux Falls eventually the lead. This one bounces away from Vince DeFazio, as it appears that he got to it before it rolled into the Sioux Falls dugout on the right side. Runners will take a base. Tinoco was saying to the base runner Lind to come home, but he did not do so, as that's the 2nd wild pitch of the game now for Trevor Hardin. It's ball 1 to Tinoco. Right-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher, and now Trevor Hardin with 2 runners in scoring position with a couple of outs in this bottom of the 4th, trying to keep the Air Hogs lead at 2 runs. Another low pitch there. It's 2-0. Steve Tinoco, a 200 hitter, 10 for 50 with runners in scoring position. 2-0 pitch, bounce to Matthew Burns at third. He will throw to first base and prevent the run from scoring. That ends the 4th inning, excuse me. No run score on 2 hits, 2 men left on base. Trevor Hardin escapes another jam and keeps the 3-1 lead for Grand Prairie into the 5th inning. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Top of the 5th inning now in Sioux Falls. Air Hogs lead it 3-1 over the Canaries. They'll lead it off with Eric Baker in the 5th. Then Jimmy Mojica and Alex Nunez do up next in the lineup. Eric Baker grounded into a fielder's choice in the 2nd inning, but that drove in a run, as Madison Carter scored as Baker beat out the double play. Ball one to Baker on the first pitch. He later scored in the second on the RBI double by Jimmy Mojica. Strike one called. Right down the middle from Ben Moore, the starter for Sioux Falls. 1-1 the count. Righty against a righty. Here's the windup in the 1-1 pitch. That was a nice curveball in there for strike two. You can almost see the break of that ball as it moved into the strike zone, as that's a swing and a miss by Baker on a pitch in the dirt, and the fourth strikeout of the night for Moore. It's out number one in the fifth. Top of the order returning for the Air Hogs, Jimmy Mojica, 1 for 2, an RBI double in the second. That made our score 3-1. Righty against a righty, the windup in the first pitch from Moore. In there for strike one once again. That pitch from Moore was wiggling in the air, it appeared. The 0-1, a slider missing high. And now a ball and a strike to Mojica. Alex Nunez on deck. Time called by Mojica as home plate umpire Brian Child wipes off some of the dirt from home plate. Air Hogs so far have lost 2 in a row. They lost the season finale in Kansas City and the opener of this 3-game set as well. Strike two called to Mojica on the outside corner. On another slider from Ben Moore. Battle between a couple of veterans here. Here's the windup in the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Another breaking pitch from Ben Moore. A couple of strikeouts here in this fifth inning to give him 5 on the night. 2 outs and nobody on for Alex Nunez, who has a single and a run scored in the first inning. 1 for 2 on the night. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Moore with the windup in the first pitch. That is called strike one, even though Nunez lifted his arms, thinking that it was 2 inside. 0-1 the count. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Moore. Swing and a miss on a changeup. And Moore with some great stuff in this fifth inning. He's ahead of Nunez 0-2 now. This one is lined on the 0-2 pitch to second base. Fielding on a couple of hops is Lind to make the throw to first. And a 1-2-3 inning for Moore. He has sat down the last 10 Air Hogs batters. Moving to the bottom of the fifth, it's still 3-1 Grand Prairie. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs baseball. Back to Sioux Falls Stadium, known as the Birdcage, here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Air Hogs with a 3-1 lead over the Canaries, moving to the bottom of the fifth. Brandon Jones The left fielder leads it off for Sioux Falls, followed by A.J. Kirby Jones and Chris Duffy in the lineup. 2, 3, 4 hitters for Steve Shirley, the manager. Brandon Jones is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out to first base. Last night, he was 2 for 4 with a couple of singles. Wind up in the first pitch from the starter, Trevor Harden. He delivers strike 1. And quickly with the 0-1 delivery is Harden. And again, strike 2 right down the middle. And he's ahead of Brandon Jones. No balls and 2 strikes in the count. Here's the 0-2 pitch on the way. Low and inside this time, moving the count to 1-2. Trevor Harden in his last start only gave up 2 runs on 5 hits against the Lincoln Salt Dogs on July 4th through 6 innings of work. Bullpen could not keep the lead for him as the Airhogs lost in extra innings 9-7. 2-2 pitch on the way. Swing and a foul tip. And DeFazio wasn't able to catch that one behind the plate, so Jones stays alive at 2-2. Here is the 2-2 pitch, lined and caught by Jason Botts. Man, he dove to the ground to make that grab. And just a couple of inches off the ground, not only does he keep it from going into right field, but he makes out number 1 on the line drive out. And that'll give him a little bit of confidence at a position that he's not used to playing. Listed as an outfielder on the roster, but has to play first now due to nobody healthy on the Airhogs bench able to play at first, as the first pitch to Kirby Jones is bounced foul. It's also due to the fact that he really can't play anywhere else other than the outfield, and he doesn't want to be left out of the batting order for manager Eric Champion. 0-1 pitch is outside to Kirby Jones. 1-1 the count. Kirby Jones 2 for 2, a couple of base hits, one a double in the first and a single in the third. He also scored in the first inning, the only run of the game so far for Sioux Falls. 2-1 now. Here's the windup in the 2-1 pitch from Harden. This is hit well into left center field. Eric Baker not able to get there as it bounces to the warning track. He now throws it in, but that's the second double of the evening for Kirby Jones. He is 3 for 3. He is on second base with just 1 out for the designated hitter Chris Duffy. He is 1 for 1 with a walk and a single. Trevor Harden in this 5th inning has now thrown 62 pitches. First pitch is hit through the hole between first and second. And given a stop sign at third base is Kirby Jones. A nice play from Abel Nieves to quickly get that one back into the infield diamond. Another single for Duffy, who's 2 for 2. Puts runners at the corners with just 1 out in this bottom of the 5th inning. Airhogs still with a 2-run lead. Carlos Mendez drove in a run in the first inning in this exact same situation. Runners at the corners, and there were 2 outs in that first inning when he drove in that run. Now 1 out in this 5th inning. Mendez 1 for 2 on the night. The last time he was up, he grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. First pitch is called a strike. Mendez on the year, 274 hitter, And 23 runs batted in. Hardin is set from the stretch. Here is the pitch. Bouncer to shortstop. Mojica throws across his body. Can they get the double play? No, they cannot. Nunez hesitated for just a split second, trying to turn that double play. They do get the out at second base, but a run comes across the plate again as Kirby Jones scores on the fielder's choice by Mendez, who now has 24 runs batted in on the season and 2 tonight. 3-2 Airhogs now. That will bring up Chris Valencia, who has flown out twice to left field. He's 0 for 2. Time called by Valencia before the first pitch. Valencia playing in center field for Sioux Falls, as he did last night. This is the exact same batting order that Steve Shirley sent in the opener of this series, both offensively and defensively. Ball one outside to Valencia. Airhogs still with a 1-run lead. Tying run is on the base pads at first base. For the Canaries, swing and a miss by Valencia on a pitch outside. A ball and a strike now. Airhogs have been out-hit 9-3, but they have still outscored the Canaries 3-2 in this one. Canaries with 1 fielding error in this game. Next pitch, another swing and a miss. A high heat fastball from Hardin. And he's ahead 1-2 in the count. Hardin in his last 5 starts has allowed just 10 earned runs in 29 2/3 innings. A 2.45 ERA. Swing and a miss. And he ends the 5th inning on that strikeout. His 3rd K of the night. But the Canaries cut the lead in half. 1 run on 2 hits, a man left. 3-2 Airhogs going to the 6th inning here in Sioux Falls. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. Top of the 6th inning now. Airhogs lead it 3-2 in this second of a 3-game set with the Sioux Falls Canaries here on the road. Abel Nieves will lead it off in this 6th inning, followed by Jason Botts and Brian Myro. Nieves, 1 for 2, a double in the 1st inning, grounded out to second base in the 3rd. Righty against a righty. Ben Moore winds up for the first pitch. And it is just outside the plate, 1-0. Ben Moore's been working a lot with a slider in tonight's game. And there it is again, and it's in there for strike 1. Nieves last night, 1 for 3, Comes into this game with a .330 batting average, swung on and missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. He was last year's batting champ at .357, hitting in 2013 with the Wichita Wingnuts. He's going to have to do a little harder hitting in this season to try and chase Casey Arthur, who's batting .404 for Winnipeg this year. So Nieves nearly 70 or over 70 points behind. 2-2, and here's the next pitch. Swing and a miss. Ben Moore with 6 strikeouts, and he has sat down the last 11 Air Hogs batters now. The next batter is Jason Botts, who is 0 for 2 and 0 for 4 in this series so far. He did drive in a run in the first inning on a ground out to second base. That gave the Air Hogs their first lead of the game, 1-0. Sioux Falls then tied it in the first with a run of their own. But then the Air Hogs answered with 2 more runs in the second. Sioux Falls so far has only been able to tack on 1 run since then. That came in the last inning, the 5th, as Botts picks up his first base hit of the series with a single to right. So he's on first with 1 out. DH Brian Myro is the next batter. He is 0 for 2. Popped up into foul territory to the third baseman in the first, and a fly out to right in the third. He takes ball 1 on the first pitch from Ben Moore. Brian Myro, in just his 17th game back from the disabled list, he's batting .308 in his return in 2014. He takes strike 1 right down the middle. In his 3rd season with the Air Hogs, now he's a player coach. He served as the hitting coach before being activated from the DL in the early part of this season. Swing and a miss, another changeup from Ben Moore. A runner on first and 1 out. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Brian Myro. Myro, 37 years old. Moore on the mound is 33. Swing and a miss, and a bat's flying on the right side of the infield. Almost hit the base runner, Jason Botts, as Myro strikes out and loses his bat in the process. Well, that's certainly dangerous, especially when it goes out into the field of play. Almost hit Jason Botts as he scampered back to first base to avoid being hit for that flying bat. It is out number 2 and strikeout number 7 for Ben Moore on the night. This next pitch to Madison Carter is hit high in the air to right. It's going to bounce into fair territory and off the wall. Madison Carter is going to cruise safely into second base. Botts stops at third. And Madison Carter with his 3rd double of his career puts runners at second and third with 2 outs. Carter 1 for 2 on the night. In the second inning, he scored a run after a walk. So now runners at second and third, and the Air Hogs trying to extend their 3-2 lead here in the 6th. Matthew Burns is the next batter. He is 0 for 1, a sacrifice bunt in the second, a strikeout looking in the 4th. Ben Moore sets from the stretch and delivers. A slider misses outside. Righty versus righty, a 23-year-old rookie at the dish, a 33-year-old veteran on the mound. Here's the 1-0. High chopper to third base. Fielding it is Mendez. Double clutches and can't get the throw to first. It bounces behind Kirby Jones. 2 runs are going to score as Burns is safe at second. 5-2 is the lead for the Air Hogs. Looks like it's going to be ruled a base hit for Matthew Burns, as well as an error for Carlos Mendez. No, actually, not sure if the base hit is going to be given to Burns. Still hasn't been shown on the video board yet. We'll await official scoring there, but it's 5-2. Airhogs leading it, as the next batter is Vince DeFazio. DeFazio takes ball one. He is 0 for 2. Reached on an error in the second inning, and then struck out swinging, in the fourth. So there is an error charged to the third baseman Mendez, and that's a throwing error. But still unsure if Burns will be given a hit. No, he will not. Even though I think he would have been safe on the throw at first if it had been on line, as Mendez had to double clutch that ground ball, exchanging from his glove to hand. It's 2 balls and 1 strike to Vince DeFazio. Next pitch is bounced foul down the third base line. Burns is at second base with 2 outs. Airhogs just tacked 2 more runs on the board to make it 5-2 here in the 6th. Airhogs have been out-hit 9-5. And now 2 fielding errors for Sioux Falls. 1 in the second and another one here in the 6th. 2-2 pitch to DeFazio, called strike 3 on the outside edge. So Moore does strike out the side to give him 8 Ks on the night, but he gives up 2 more runs, which will probably be unearned on the error. 2 hits for the Airhogs in the inning, and they leave a man on base. 5-2 is the lead for Grand Prairie going to the bottom of the 6th. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Bottom of the 6th inning here in Sioux Falls. Airhogs lead it 5-2 now after tacking on a couple more runs in the top half of the inning. Now the Canaries will look to answer. Steven Branca will lead it off, the 7-hitter. Then Sam Lind and Kevin Dultz due up in this bottom of the 6th against Trevor Harden, back on the mound to start inning number 6 in his 10th start of the year. So far he's given up 2 runs on 9 hits, 3 strikeouts and a walk for the 25-year-old starter. This first pitch is slapped down the line at third, and it's going to roll into the left field corner. Madison Carter fields it. Coming into second base is Branca, leadoff double for the shortstop. That is going to give Branca 6 doubles on the year. And he is 1 for 3 on the night now. Brings up Sam Lind, who's 2 for 2 with a couple of singles tonight. First pitch from Harden is outside to Lynn for ball one. Trevor Harden is up to 71 pitches now. Here's the 0-1. Or the 1-0 pitch, excuse me. Hit high and deep into right field. Nieves going back. It's going to leave the park. That is a home run for Sam Lind. 2-run shot cuts the lead to 1. Sam Lind with his second home run of the season and his 8th one batted in as well. 5-4 Airhogs lead it as Jeff Russell walks out to the pitcher's mound, the pitching coach for the Airhogs, to talk with Trevor Harden. Airhogs gave up a home run last night as well to Steve Tinoco. As Jeff Russell, in his first year with Grand Prairie as the pitching coach, talks with Trevor Harden as starter. There is action in the bullpen for the Airhogs. A right-hander warming up. It appears to be Brett Wallach. Meeting on the mound is over. So it's 5-4 Airhogs now. Canaries answer with 2 more runs of their own in this bottom half of the 6th, and they're still not done. Its base is empty and still nobody out. And they'll look to find another rally here with Kevin Doltz, their catcher, who is 1 for 2 with a single in the 4th. First pitch to Doltz is swung on and missed. Fastball right down the middle, 0-1 the count. Trevor Harden with just his 7th home run given up this year. 1-1 pitch. Called strike 2 to Doltz. And it's now a ball and 2 strikes the count. With Steve Tinoco on deck, the man who hit the home run last night. Here's the 1-2 from Harden. That is lined foul down the right field side. Still 1-2. Kevin Doltz has gotten the bulk of the starts behind the dish for Sioux Falls. This is start number 44 for him on the season. Matt Hitt, the other listed catcher, only has 5 starts. Wind up in the 1-2 pitch from Harden. Again, lifted foul on the right side and out of play into the stands. Kevin Doltz is a rookie out of Pasadena, California. He did play for Sioux Falls last year, and he will turn 26 years old later next week. 2-2 the count after that one misses low from Trevor Harden. Now winds up for the 2-2 delivery. Swung on and missed as Doltz tried to chase a pitch outside, and Harden sits him down for out number 1. That's his 4th strikeout of the night. It'll bring up Steve Tinoco. 1 out, nobody on base. Tinoco is 0 for 3 tonight. The only hit that he's had so far in this series was that 3-run home run in the 5th inning of the opener. Those were the first 3 runs scored in the game by either team, as the Canaries went on to shut out the Airhogs last night 4-0. Called strike 1 on the first pitch to Tinoco. Here's the windup in the 0-1 from Harden. It is popped foul down the right side. No balls and 2 strikes. Steve Tinoco last year played for Montgomery in the Southern League. He is 26 years old out of Orange City, California. 0-2 pitch is lined foul into the screen. Staying alive at 0-2 is Steve Tinoco with Brandon Jones on deck. Airhogs have been out hit 11-5, but so far have outscored the Canaries 5-4. This is a check swing. It bounced off of the bat of Tinoco, but it hit him as well in foul territory, so that will not be an out. It'll be a foul ball and still 0-2 the count. Tinoco, the Sioux Falls right fielder. Righty versus righty. The 0-2 is upstairs from Hardin. Tinoco's only batting .250 this year. He's got 4 home runs on the season and 21 runs batted in. Low and outside this time. From Trevor Hardin, the count is now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Airhogs 5, Canaries 4. Bottom of the 6th, here's the 2-2. Low and outside again. DeFazio slides to his right to block it. It's now a full count. Steve Tinoco fell behind 0-2, now has worked the count full. Wind up in the payoff pitch from Trevor Hardin. Called strike 3, inside edge of the zone. And back-to-back strikeouts for Hardin. He's got 6 on the night. Or excuse me, that's strikeout number 5. Brandon Jones has one of those strikeouts tonight. He is 0 for 3. First pitch to him is over the plate but low. And it's ball 1 to Jones, the left fielder from Panama City, Florida. Bounces this one to first. Botts says he'll keep it himself and steps on the bag to end the 6th inning. But a 2-run home run by Sam Lind cuts the lead to 1 run for the Airhogs after 6 innings. 5-4 Grand Prairie leads it. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Now start the 7th inning here in Sioux Falls. Airhogs 5, Canaries 4 in the second of this 3-game set. Eric Baker to lead it off for Grand Prairie. He is 0 for 2. He scored a run in the 2nd inning after driving in a run on a fielder's choice. He struck out swinging in the 5th. Ben Moore back out there for Sioux Falls. First pitch is swung on by Baker and lifted high into right field. Calling for it now, the right fielder. That is number 12, Steve Tinoco. That was into shallow right. Initially, the second baseman, Lind, was going to try and make a play at it, but Tinoco called him off and makes the grab. 1 pitch, 1 out for Ben Moore in the 7th. Next batter is Jimmy Mojica, who is 1 for 3. He drove a run in the 2nd inning, an RBI double. Airhogs had 8 hits last night. They were all singles. Strike 1 called. So Mojica with the first extra base hit by an Air Hog in this series. Actually, the first one was hit by Nieves in the first on his double, so Mojica with the second one. Air Hogs with 3 doubles in tonight's game. Madison Carter with one in the last inning, the 6th. 1-1 the count to Mojica. 1 out and nobody on base. Alex Nunez is on deck. Righty versus righty. Here's the windup in the 1-1. Low in the dirt this time. 2 balls and 1 strike. Jimmy Mojica, 30 years old. Last year played in Laredo. Came out of retirement to sign for the Air Hogs this year. Has played for a total of 7 teams in the American Association. 3-1 pitch is on the way. It bounces in the dirt to the catcher, Doltz, and Mojica will draw a walk. Alex Nunez, the next batter, with a man on first now and 1 out. Nunez 1 for 3, singled and scored in the first. Nunez with a .348 batting average in his first 22 games. Runner going on the first pitch, and that is a hit into right field. Mojica going from first to third on the single by Nunez. The hit and run works for the Air Hogs on the first pitch to Nunez. As Nunez is 2 for 4 on the night with a couple of singles now. Air Hogs with 6 hits. They have been out hit 11-6, but so far they've outscored Sioux Falls 5-4. 2 errors by Sioux Falls in the field. Runners at the corners and 1 out for Abel Nieves, who is 1 for 3 with a double in the first. Moore is set from the stretch and moves to first before delivering home. Nunez getting back in. He has second base open. And Nunez has 5 stolen bases this year, tied with Mojica for the team lead. Air Hogs with 19 stolen bags this year. Called strike 1 to Abel Nieves. The slider has worked very well for Ben Moore tonight. He's got 8 strikeouts and only a couple of walks allowed. 0-1 pitch on the way, swing and a miss. Moore with 8 strikeouts, so he's now only 2 behind Aaron Wilkerson for the league lead in strikeouts on the season. Wilkerson with 69, and Moore now started this outing with 59. So with 8 strikeouts, he's got 67. Runner going to second base. Low pitch there. Sliding safely at second is Nunez, and going home now is Mojica. They're not able to get either runner as Mojica extends the lead back to 2 runs for the Air Hogs. And some trickery on the base paths by Grand Prairie. Nunez was safe at second base. The throw was just to the right by Sam Doltz, and unable to get the runner at home plate either, as Mojica, with a lot of speed and a lot of quick reactions, to go home on the throw to second. So a couple of stolen bases there. As Nieves now has a runner at second and still only 1 out. A 1-2 pitch is hit foul down the right side. 6-4, Air Hogs lead it now in the 7th. A 104 pitches now for Ben Moore. Here's the 1-2. Bounced foul into the body of Nieves. Jason Botts waiting on deck for Grand Prairie. Grand Prairie have outscored the Canaries 6-4. They've been out-hit, however, 11-6 in this one. They were shut out of last night's game despite 8 base hits compared to the Canaries' 6. The 1-2 is on the way. Upstairs to Nieves, it's now 2-2. Nunez is at second, 1 out, and a swing and a miss there by Nieves, and he's right in the face of home plate umpire Brian Child, as he is going to call for his 2 other umpires here to see what the call should be. Nieves was upset about something, either the balls and strikes or whether or not he had foul-tipped that one. Nieves thought that was a foul tip. It was dropped, I believe, by Sam Doltz. And it will be called an out, as Eric Champion thought that he had foul-tipped that one, Nieves. He's talking with home plate umpire Brian Child with it now. That is strikeout number 9 for Moore. He's now only 1 behind Wilkerson with 68 on the season. And now a visit out to the mound by manager Steve Shirley of Sioux Falls, as Ben Moore is now over 100 pitches. Shirley will make the move to the bullpen and call it a night for Ben Moore. So a runner at second and 2 outs. And a move will be made to the bullpen here in the 7th by Sioux Falls. Airhogs 6, Canaries 4. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. Top of the 7th inning, Airhogs lead at 6-4. They have a runner at second with 2 outs. Jason Botts is the batter. The new pitcher on the mound for Sioux Falls is left-hander Joe Testa. Testa on the season has an ERA of 3.20, an 0-1 record. He's appeared 15 times and pitched a total of 19 2/3 innings this year. Strike 1 to Jason Botts, who was 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored in the 6th. He also drove in a run on a ground out in the 1st inning. 0-1 pitch on the way from Testa. Upstairs, and a snap throw to second. Nunez gets back in. So the starter, Ben Moore, goes 6 2/3 innings. He allowed just 1 earned run. 4 of his runs given up were earned. And he now has 9 strikeouts, 1 behind the season lead in strikeouts in the American Association. Right now that's being held by Aaron Wilkerson, Grand Prairie's rookie starter. 1-1 pitch on the way to Botts, upstairs on the check swing. 2 balls and 1 strike. Joe Testa only 5'10", so he is almost eye level on the pitcher's mound with Jason Botts, who's 6'6". 2-1 pitch, swing and a miss on the pitch in the dirt. And the count is now even at 2-2. Joe Testa is from Jackson, New Jersey. Last year played for Gary South Shore. He's 28 years old. He delivers the 2-2 to Botts, and it's upstairs on the fastball. Now a full count. Airhogs with 1 run in this inning off of the double stolen bases by Jimmy Mojica and Alex Nunez. They were at first and third. Nunez stole second first, and then Mojica went home on the throw to second by the catcher Dultz. That made it 6-4 Airhogs. 3-2 pitch is popped in the air into foul territory. It'll be playable, though, for Kirby Jones, the first baseman. And he'll make the grab. That ends the top of the 7th. A run scores, however, on 1 hit for the Airhogs. They leave a man on base. We move to the bottom of the 7th inning here in Sioux Falls. 6-4, the Airhogs lead it. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Bottom of the 7th inning. Airhogs with a 6-4 lead over Sioux Falls. New pitcher on the mound for Grand Prairie. It's reliever Brett Wallach, a right-handed rookie and a former Cubs prospect. Played for Daytona in 2012. He is 25 years old. On the season, Wallach has an ERA with the Airhogs of 5.40, a record of 3-0. 11 2/3 innings pitched through 10 prior appearances to this one. He delivers strike one on the outside edge to the first batter, A.J. Kirby Jones. He is 3 for 3 tonight with a single and 2 doubles, as well as a couple of runs scored. Time is called before the windup. Trevor Harden on the night through 6 innings, gave up 4 runs on 11 hits, 5 strikeouts, and only 1 walk allowed. Also a couple of wild pitches for the 25-year-old starter, but he's in line for the win. 1 ball and 1 strike to Kirby Jones, and that is called strike 2 from Wallach. After Kirby Jones will be Chris Duffy, the designated hitter, and then Carlos Mendez, the third baseman. Swung on and chopped foul straight back by Kirby Jones. Still a ball and 2 strikes to him. He's from Charleston, South Carolina. Last year played for Rome in the South Atlantic League. 25 years old. One-two pitch is hit in the air. It's straight back, and Vince DeFazio will not have a play at it. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kirby Jones, only 5'10". Brett Wallach at 6'4" is towering over him on the pitcher's mound. Airhogs have outscored the Canaries 6-4 despite being out-hit 11-6 in this game. 2 errors by the Canaries in the field. Time called again. As both pitcher and hitter reset, here's the windup in the 1-2 pitch from Wallach. Swing and a miss. A breaking pitch there fooled Kirby Jones, and he sits down for out number 1 in the 7th. So Kirby Jones not able to reach base for the first time tonight. He's now 3 for 4. Duffy, who is also batting 1,000, 2 for 2 on the night, with a couple of singles as well as a walk. First pitch is hit high in the air to left center. It's also deep, and it's going to leave. No, it's not. It's going to bounce off of the top of the wall. That wall is just a little higher than it is in other parts of the outfield there, as that is going to be a double for Chris Duffy. The outfield wall has many different heights depending on which part you're looking at, but that just bounced off of a white billboard out there in left center field on just the very tip. And instead of a home run, it will be a double for the designated hitter, Chris Duffy. He's now got 14 doubles on the year to lead the team. And he's 3 for 3 on the night. Puts himself in scoring position with 1 out for the third baseman, Carlos Mendez. He looks at strike 1 right down the middle. Mendez with a couple of runs batted in tonight. 1 on a single in the first inning. Another when he grounded into a fielder's choice in the 5th. Wallach looks at second, where Duffy is leading off and not being held on. Delivers home. It's popped foul straight back over the screen. 0-2 now to Carlos Mendez. Mendez, a good hitter with runners in scoring position, 304 this year. Wallach sets at the letters. Here's the 0-2. Upstairs on the fastball. Now a ball and 2 strikes. On deck for the Canaries is Chris Valencia. A runner at second base and 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Airhogs lead it 3-2, or excuse me, 6-4. One-two pitch upstairs again from Wallach. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Carlos Mendez is a native of Venezuela, a 27-year-old veteran. Last year played in the Frontier League for Southern Illinois. Righty against a righty, the 2-2 is on the way. Called strike 3, right down the middle on a fastball, and the second strikeout of the inning for Wallach in relief. Brings up the next batter, Chris Valencia. He is 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of flyouts to left, a strikeout in the 5th. Two outs with a runner at second now for Sioux Falls in the bottom half of this 7th inning. They won last night 4-0. Airhogs trying to even the 3-game set here. Strike 1 called to Valencia. Airhogs all-time are 9-10 against Sioux Falls. Last year, these two teams only played in one regular season series, one in which the Airhogs swept 3-0. This is chopped foul down the first base line on the 0-1 pitch, moving Valencia behind in the count, 0-2. Valencia this year, .269 hitter, couple of home runs, and 23 runs batted in. He's 0 for 3 tonight and 0 for 6 in this series. Wallach sets, looks at second base, and now delivers home. 0-2 pitch is hit foul into the screen again. Airhogs are 21-32 on this 2014 season. We're just past the halfway mark. This is officially game number 54. The 0-2. Swung on and missed, dropped by Vince DeFazio in the dirt. He will throw to first to complete the out as Wallach strikes out the side in the 7th despite allowing one hit, but keeps the lead at 6-4 Airhogs, moving to the 8th inning. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. We start the 8th inning here at the Birdcage in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Airhogs with a 2-run lead, 6-4 to be exact, against the Canaries. Leading it off in the top of the 8th inning, Brian Myro, the designated hitter for the Airhogs, followed by Madison Carter, the left fielder, and Matthew Burns, the third baseman. Myro tonight 0 for 3. Last night he was 2 for 4 with a couple of singles. Joe Testa, the left-handed reliever, back on the mound. First pitch is hit high and deep into right field, and it is out of here. Brian Myro on the first pitch goes deep to lead off the 8th. Second home run of the season for the 37-year-old veteran. And he rounds the bases, makes it 7-4 Airhogs in the 8th. With one swing of the bat there. And he gets mobbed by his teammates in the dugout. 7-4 Airhogs now after that long ball from Myro. So nobody out still, and the next batter, Madison Carter. Ball 1 to him on the first pitch from Testa. Carter 1 for 2. He has scored a couple of runs tonight. Drew a walk in the second, doubled in the sixth. This one is hit hard into left field. Is it fair? No, just foul down the line in left. Rolling into the Airhogs bullpen. A ball and a strike now to Carter. Participated in the most recent College World Series, just wrapping up last month with the University of Texas. They made it all the way to be one of the last 4 teams remaining in the field. Carter takes ball 2 outside, 2-1 the count. They were eliminated by the eventual champs, the Vanderbilt Commodores. Testa winds up. The 2-1 is on the way. Hit into left center field, into the gap. Going to go all the way to the wall. Madison Carter rounds first. He will stay at second with his second double of the night. And his 4th double of the season. Man, this guy just flat out hits. Madison Carter, 2 for 3 tonight, which makes him 8 for 23 in his first 6 games of his professional career. So he's in scoring position with nobody out. The next batter is Matthew Burns. Burns looks at strike 1 on the inside corner. 0 for 2 on the night is Burns, a sacrifice bunt. He also reached on an error in the 6th inning. That was a throwing error by the third baseman, Mendez, which brought around a couple of runs, but Burns not credited with any runs batted in. Lifted foul down the right side. Burns doesn't have a home run or an RBI this year. Only 8 base hits and 48 at-bats on the season. This is his first professional year as well, a rookie out of Northwestern State. Madison Carter is at second with nobody out in the 8th. The 0-2 on the way, swing and a miss, and Burns sits down on strikes. Ten strikeouts for Canaries pitching tonight. 9 of them were recorded by Ben Moore, the starter. That's the first one for Testa. So now, 1 out and a runner at second. Vince DeFazio is the next batter. He is 0 for 3. He also reached on an error. That was in the 2nd inning, committed by the shortstop, Stephen Branca. Swing and a miss on the first pitch. DeFazio has struck out twice tonight. Testa is set at the belt, a left-handed pitcher against a right-handed batter. The 0-1 hit into the screen behind DeFazio. 0-2 now. Eric Baker on deck for the Airhogs. A runner at second base. Only 1 out in the 8th. The Airhogs lead it 7-4 now. A leadoff home run by Brian Myro extended the lead to 3 runs in this 8th. Fazio steps out of the box, resets himself, and digs back in once again. 12 hits for the Canaries, 8 for the Airhogs. As Testa steps off the rubber on the mound. No balls and 2 strikes to Vince DeFazio. Here is the kick in the 0-2 pitch. Again, lifted foul on the swing by DeFazio down the right side and out of play. Vince DeFazio did not play in last night's game. Mitch Abeda started at catcher. DeFazio got all 3 starts in the first half of this road trip against Kansas City earlier in the week. 0-2 pitch from Testa. Low and inside on that one. A ball and 2 strikes to the 28-year-old catcher Vince DeFazio. Runner at second and only 1 out in the top of the 8th. Airhogs still trying to pad their lead. They were shut out last night, but they now return the favor with 7 runs so far tonight on just 8 base hits. They grabbed 8 base hits last night, not able to bring around a run. Had plenty an opportunity to score. 1-2 pitch is hit on a line drive into center. It'll hang up for Chris Valencia, catching it on the run into right center field. That's out number 2. Eric Baker, the next batter. He drove in a run in the second by grounding into a fielder's choice and beating out the double play. He is 0 for 3 on the night. Got a runner at second and 2 outs now. Right-handed batter against a left-handed pitcher. Testa set at the belt. Here comes the first pitch. A fastball in there for strike 1, clipping the inside corner. Baker's a 26-year-old rookie in his first professional year of baseball out of Rogers State in Claremore, Oklahoma. 0-1 pitch on the way. A fastball upstairs. Now 1-1. Baker didn't jump right into professional baseball out of college. Did try to find a career elsewhere. Started out as a marketing intern for the athletic department at the University of Tulsa. Said he spent a couple of years there and had a lot of fun. 1-1 pitch is lifted into the air at second base. It looked like it was a bouncer, a high chopper by Eric Baker. I thought that was a jammed pop-up into the infield. The second baseman, Sam Lind, catches it and throws to first for the out. That ends the top of the 8th inning. A run scores on 2 hits, but it was a leadoff home run by Brian Myro that gave the Airhogs the 7-4 lead going to the bottom of the 8th inning. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Back with the bottom of the 8th inning here in Sioux Falls at the Birdcage, as it's known locally around these parts, Sioux Falls Stadium. Steven Branca leads it off in this bottom of the 8th for the Canaries. He is 1 for 3 with a double and a run scored in the 6th. He'll be followed by Sam Lind and Kevin Doltz in the Canaries lineup. Facing off against the reliever, Brett Wallach, in inning number 2. Strike one called on the first pitch, right down the middle. Airhogs lead it 7-4, going to the bottom of the 8th inning. Low and outside on the next pitch from the rookie Wallach. 1-1 the count to Branca. The windup in the 1-1 pitch now from Brett Wallach. Popped up, and it'll be out of play on the right side. Now a ball and 2 strikes to the shortstop, Branca. Branca's from Tampa, Florida. He's 25 years old. Wallach winds up for the 1-2 pitch. Chopper foul down the third base line. Burns fielded it, but it will be a dead ball. Canaries have out-hit the Airhogs 12-8, but Airhogs outscoring the Canaries so far 7-4 in the second of this 3-game set. Airhogs were shut out last night 4-0. 1-2 pitch is over the plate but low by Wallach. It's now 2-2. Sam Lind on deck for the Sioux Falls, who are at 21-33 on the season. Last place in the North Division. Lifted foul and out of play. Sioux Falls is 14 games back of the Winnipeg Goldeyes, who are at 34-18, leading the North. Grand Prairie, meanwhile, at 21-32, is 15.5 back of the South Division lead, held by the Wichita Wingnuts right now. Next pitch is bounced to first base. Botts fields it off the ground, steps on the bag himself. 1 down. The next batter is second baseman Sam Lind. Lind cut the Airhogs' lead to 1 run in the 6th inning with a 2-run shot to right field. That was his second home run of the season. He is 3 for 3 on the night, a couple of singles to go along with that home run. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Wallach winds up. Here's the first pitch. It is tipped foul into the screen. Strike 1 to Lind. He's from Hartford, South Dakota. 24-year-old rookie, a teammate of Aaron Wilkerson's at Cumberland University in his collegiate career. Those two won a couple of back-to-back NAIA national championships at Cumberland. Lind looks at ball 1 outside. 1-1 the count to Sam Lind. Here's the windup in the 1-1 from Wallach. Called strike 2 on the outside edge. Lind, the second baseman, will be followed by Kevin Doltz in the lineup, the catcher. Swing and a miss. And he will sit down on strikes for out number 2. Wallach with 4 strikeouts in relief. He struck out the side in the 7th. Two down, nobody on base. Kevin Doltz, the batter. He's 1 for 3 with a single in the 4th inning. He digs in here on the right-handed side of the plate to face the right-hander on the mound, Brett Wallach. First pitch, a changeup, but in there for strike 1 on the outside corner of the zone. Kevin Doltz, .254 hitter coming into this game. Looks at ball 1 outside to even the count at a ball and a strike. He's also got a home run and 16 RBIs with Sioux Falls this year. Second season with the team. He is a rookie from Pasadena, California. He'll turn 26 years old next week on July 17th. 2 balls and 1 strike to Doltz. 2 outs and nobody on in the 8th inning. Called strike 2 on the outside edge. Two balls and 2 strikes. Brett Wallach will step off the rubber now as time is called. Airhogs lead it 7-4, trying to even this 3-game set at 1 apiece. 2-2 pitch on the way. Oh, it appeared to be strike 3, but it was just low of the zone on the fastball from Wallach. Looked like he wanted that strikeout there, but instead it's a full count to Doltz. On deck for the Canaries, Steve Tinoco. That'll be a walk. Another pitch misses low from Wallach. He allows a base runner with 2 outs in the 8th to bring up Steve Tinoco. Tinoco tonight is 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. Only 1 hit so far in this series, but it was a big one. Last night, a 3-run jack to right field, which opened up the scoring in last night's contest and eventually gave the Canaries a 4-0 victory. First pitch from Wallach, low for ball 1. This will be the only series of the season between these two, as a pickoff move to first base is unsuccessful by Wallach. 1 ball and no strikes to Steve Tinoco. Here's the pitch from Wallach. Hit right up the middle on a line drive into center field. And Tinoco with the first base hit of the night for him. 1 for 5, and he puts runners at first and second with still 2 outs in the 8th. Brandon Jones, the next batter, 0 for 4 tonight. And Eric Champion out from the dugout, likely to make a pitching move here in his first season as the Airhogs manager. In fact, his first week as the Airhogs manager. Ricky Van Asselberg let go by the team earlier after the weekend series with the Lincoln Salt Dogs. Champion talking with Wallach. He may not be willing to pull him here. So they're still chatting, and now he's talking with the home plate umpire, Brian Child, who has walked out now to the pitcher's mound. And he will make the move for a left-hander. So Wallach will finish his night as well, and Champion will bring in the 3rd pitcher of the night for Grand Prairie. Runners at first and second and 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. We'll inform you of the pitching change when we come back. 7-4, the Airhogs lead it. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhawks baseball, bottom of the 8th inning. Runners at first and second for the Canaries with 2 outs. Airhawks lead at 7-4 and will use their third pitcher of the night. It is left-hander Bennett Whitmore out from the pen. Whitmore will make his 11th appearance of the season with Grand Prairie. 13 innings pitched in total on the year, a record of 0-1, a 2.08 ERA, which is tops on the team right now, that 2.08 earned run average. Bennett Whitmore is a 26-year-old rookie. In 2012, he played for the Frontier League with the team Traverse City. Last year played in the Gulf Coast League, or the Pacific Coast League, that is. And he comes in with runners at first and second. Leaving the game is Brett Wallach through an inning and 2/3. Responsible for runners at first and second, so if Whitmore can get out of the inning without giving up a run, Wallach will not be charged with a run in his relief appearance. Wallach only gave up 2 hits and 1 walk, struck out 4 batters in his inning and 2/3 of work. First pitch from Whitmore, is outside to Brandon Jones, who is 0 for 4. Whitmore sets from the stretch. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Hit in the air to shallow right field. Charging outward to make the grab is Alex Nunez. He squeezes it for out number 3. So Whitmore quickly ends the 8th inning. No run score on 1 hit, 2 men left on base. Airhogs 7, Canaries 4, moving to the 9th inning here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. We start the 9th inning here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Pitching change for Sioux Falls. Coming in to pitch this 9th is right-hander Chase Boroff. Boroff wearing number 27, so Sioux Falls has started out with number 25, Ben Moore. Then in relief came number 26, Joe Testa. Now one more number up with number 27, Boroff. Boroff this year has appeared only 5 times for the Canaries, pitching a total of 7 innings. No decisions yet, an ERA of 9, as he has given up 7 earned runs in those 7 innings. Coming in relief of Joe Testa, the left-handed reliever. An inning and a third for him, gave up 1 run on 2 hits, no walks allowed, and 1 strikeout. For the left-handed reliever, Boroff, the third pitcher used by Steve Shirley, the manager for Sioux Falls. He will be given this 9th inning, and the first batter he'll face is the top of the order for Grand Prairie, Jimmy Mojica. Then Alex Nunez and Abel Nieves will follow him. Mojica 1 for 3, a double in the second, drove in a run. He also stole home on the double steal in the 7th inning between him and Alex Nunez. Strike 1 is called to him on the first pitch. Time is called, and We now reset things here as home plate umpire Brian Child spotted something near the Canaries dugout. Now we're ready to resume. 0-1 pitch. Lifted in the air but foul. Popped out of play down the right field side. No balls and 2 strikes to Mojica. Chase Boroff is from Knoxville, Tennessee. He is 25 years old. Last year played in the Carolina League for the Wilmington Blue Rocks. No balls and 2 strikes to Jimmy Mojica. Boroff sets from the stretch. Here comes the 0-2. One hopper in the dirt to Kevin Doltz, the catcher. And he stabs it to his left side, or his right, excuse me. 1-2 the count to Jimmy Mojica. The 1-2 pitch from Boroff is on the way. Line foul this time. This one's a screamer into the stands and right. And it's still a ball and 2 strikes to Jimmy Mojica with Alex Nunez on deck. Top of the 9th inning, and the Airhogs with a 3-run lead. Looking for their first win of the series to even things up at a game apiece and force a rubber game tomorrow afternoon at 4:05 p.m. Time called as Jimmy Mojica had a fly into his face or some sort of bug as he calls time and steps out of the batter's box and swats at whatever was fluttering around his face. Swing and a flown bat, and it's into the stands. As that is a foul tip into the screen, Mojica landed that one into the first row behind the Airhogs dugout on the left side of the field, and Mojica quickly apologizing. Luckily, that did not hit anyone, and Alex Nunez giving the victim of that flown bat a baseball. As Jimmy Mojica looking to tighten the grip on the bat here as he rubs some more pine tar on it. Still a ball and 2 strikes. We have seen 2 flown bats tonight. One was flown on the right side of the infield by Brian Myro, and it almost hit the base runner Jason Botts, and this one almost hits a spectator in the stands. As Jimmy Mojica calls time again, still swatting away at some of the bugs that are flying around him. The catcher, Kevin Doltz, is doing the same. A ball and 2 strikes. Boroff sets at the stretch. Here comes the next pitch. A fastball just outside, evening the count at 2-2. Boroff is now set for the 2-2 pitch. Mojica will see it go right past him for strike 3. On the outside corner there, and it's strikeout number 1 for Boroff in relief. The 11th strikeout for Canaries pitching on the night. The starter, Ben Moore, with 9, as the fan who was hit by the bat has been given the bat now, as Mojica no longer wanting to hold on to that one after striking out. So 1 down in the 9th. The next batter is Alex Nunez. Swinging a foul tip on the first pitch. Nunez tonight 2 for 4 with a couple of singles as well as a stolen base in the 7th. He was 1 for 4 last night. Boroff with the next pitch. In the dirt, ball 1. A ball and a strike now to Nunez, the 33-year-old veteran. A native of Venezuela. And earlier this season was with the Sugar Land Skeeters after taking a year off in 2013. Initially, he thought he was retired, but then decided to come back and play this year. Bounces this one foul down the right side into the Canaries dugout. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Left-handed batter and a right-handed pitcher 1 out and nobody on base in the top of the 9th inning. Airhogs looking to get some insurance runs before going to the 9th with this 3-run lead. 1-2 pitch. Line foul into the screen by Nunez, still 1-2. Airhogs have been out-hit 13-8 in this game. 2 errors in the field by the Canaries. Starter Ben Moore gave up 6 runs, but only 2 of them were earned in his 6 2/3 innings of work. Again, line foul. This time it's into the seats on the right side. A ball and 2 strikes still to Alex Nunez, the second baseman. He'll be followed by Abel Nieves, who's on deck. Airhogs so far are 2-2 on this road trip. They took 2 out of 3 in Kansas City earlier in the week. Only the 3rd series that they have won all season. 1-2 pitch to Nunez. A slow bouncer right back to the pitcher. Bora fields it, runs to first, and will make a short toss to Kirby Jones, the first baseman. 2 down. Next batter, Abel Nieves with 2 outs and nobody on. Nieves a double tonight. That came in the first inning. But in his last 2 at-bats, he has struck out both times. He's 1 for 4. Righty against a righty. Nieves digs in with a .330 batting average coming into this game. First pitch to him is hit in the air to right, and it's going a long way. Looking up and watching it bounce off the wall is Steve Tinoco, as Nieves is going to be held to a single, actually. Tinoco with a nice play there to get it in from the warning track. And even though it bounced off the wall, Nieves is only going to have a single. He's 2 for 5 on the night, and he'll bring up Jason Botts, the next batter. Botts this evening is 1 for 4, a single and a run scored in the 6th. He also drove in a run in the first inning by grounding out with a runner at third base. Alex Nunez scored on that play. So Botts now has 33 runs batted in this year to lead the Airhogs in that category. First pitch taken for strike 1. Botts a switch hitter batting lefty against the right-handed reliever Chase Boroff. Dakota Watts is warming in the bullpen for the Airhogs as this one is popped up into left field, foul territory, and not able to get there in time is Brandon Jones, but luckily it landed just a few inches outside the foul line and left. Strike 2 to Jason Botts. Airhogs will finish out this 3-game set tomorrow at 4:05 p.m. First pitch is scheduled. Jason Jarvis will be the starter. And it looks like it will be Matt Wickswat facing off against him, the left-hander for Sioux Falls. No balls and 2 strikes to Jason Botts, not Jason Jarvis, the starter for tomorrow night. Outside on the next pitch to Botts, it's a ball and 2 strikes with Brian Myro on deck. Abel Nieves at first, 2 outs in the 9th. Boroff sets from the stretch. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Hit on the ground, past the first baseman who dove for it, into right field. Nieves going from first to third, as it was a slow grounder into right field. Botts with a single, and Nieves moving all the way to third base with some good heads-up base running there. Knowing that Tinoco couldn't get there in time on the slow grounder. So runners at first and third. Still 2 outs in the 9th inning. Brian Myro is the next batter. Last time he was up, he led off the 8th inning with a home run into right field. There was no doubt about it as well. Boroff sets. Here comes the first pitch. Inside to Myro. It's ball one. Myro's 1 for 4 in tonight's game. Last night he was 2 for 4 with a couple of singles. He now has 2 home runs this year and 9 runs batted in. 1-0 pitch. Hit in the air to left. Brandon Jones making a few steps back. He'll make the grab. It's an easy routine fly ball for him. Ending the top of the ninth. Air Hogs leave 2 men on base after 2 base hits in the ninth inning. Can't get a run across the board, but they will take a 3-run lead to the bottom half of the ninth inning, trying to close out a 7-4 victory. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Bottom of the ninth inning, Air Hogs lead at 7-4 over the Sioux Falls Canaries. Second game of this 3-game set here on a Saturday evening. Closer in for the Air Hogs, it's Dakota Watts, the 4th pitcher used by Eric Champion in this game. Watts, 11 saves on the season. Watts is 26 years old, a former Minnesota Twins prospect. An 0-2 record, an ERA of 3.58. This is his 25th appearance. However, in his last appearance, he could not get the save. He allowed 1 run in the 9th inning as the Air Hogs eventually lost in extras to the Kansas City T-Bones on Thursday night. Watts was the one who picked up the loss. Watts will now face this first batter, A.J. Kirby Jones. 3 for 4 on the night as Jones with a couple of doubles as well as a single. He has scored 2 runs in this game. He takes ball 1 upstairs. One 0 pitch is now on the way from Dakota Watts. This is hit a long way into center field. Eric Baker going back. He looks up. It is gone to straightaway center. A.J. Kirby Jones, with his 10th home run of the season, now leads the team in that category. And that one was a bomb to straightaway center field. 410 feet away is that center field wall. It's 7-5. Air Hogs still with the lead. Second home run given up by Air Hogs pitching. One was allowed by Trevor Harden in the 6th inning. But Kirby Jones going deep to cut the lead to 2 runs. Here in the 9th inning, the next batter is Chris Duffy. Swing and a miss, and it's now a ball and a strike. Duffy is 3 for 3 with a couple of singles and a double, as well as a walk in this game. Watts comes in relief of Bennett Whitmore, who only needed 2 pitches to end that 8th inning. Only a third of an inning for him tonight. Swing and a miss by Duffy. He got a small piece on the foul tip, but it was in the mitt of DeFazio. A ball and 2 strikes now to the designated hitter. Watts is set on the mound. Comes to the belt, and here he comes with the 1-2 pitch. Low in the dirt. It bounced away from DeFazio, but no base runners for Sioux Falls. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Airhogs have been out-hit 14-10, but have outscored the Canaries so far 7-5. 2 errors in the field committed by Sioux Falls. Hit foul into the screen by Duffy on the 2-2 from Watts. Keeping the count there at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Carlos Mendez, the first baseman, on deck. So nobody out and nobody on base. A leadoff home run by A.J. Kirby Jones cuts the lead to 2 runs for the Airhogs here in the bottom of the 9th. Dakota Watts with the 2-2 pitch. Lifted foul down the left side. Duffy staying alive at 2-2. Dakota Watts is tied for 4th in the American Association with 11 saves this year. 2-2 pitch. Lifted in the air to shallow left. Madison Carter from left charging in to make the grab. Had to make about 20 strides from his position to make that play. 1 down now in the 9th. Third baseman, Carlos Mendez, the next batter. 1 for 4, an RBI single in the first inning. He also drove in another run in the 5th by grounding into a fielder's choice. Comes up with nobody on base here and 1 out in the 9th inning. Airhogs 5, Canaries, or Airhogs 7, Canaries 5. Watts with the first pitch. Here comes a fastball. Lifted foul, straight back. And out of play, 0-1. The count to Mendez. The Canaries won last night 4-0 against the Airhogs. Airhogs were shut out for the first time since late May. Lifted foul down the right side this time. No balls and 2 strikes to Mendez. Only the second time this year that the Airhogs have been shut out. But looking to even the series at 1 apiece here and force a rubber game tomorrow afternoon at 4:05 p.m. That'll be the last meeting between these two in the regular season. Oh, 2 pitch is upcoming. Watts sets at the belt. Here comes a fastball. Again, lifted foul down the right side by Mendez. Right-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher. Dakota Watts is 6'5". Mendez 6 flat. So Watts towering over him on the pitcher's mound. Here's the 0-2. Another fastball and again a fly ball foul. Mendez fouling off 4 pitches against Watts. 0-2 the count. Chris Valencia waiting on deck for Sioux Falls. A leadoff home run in this inning by A.J. Kirby Jones. It's 7-5 Airhogs here in the 9th. 0-2 pitch is again foul. This one's a little closer to the field, but it was about 10 yards to the right of the foul pole. And Mendez fighting hard in this at-bat. Has swung at everything Watts has brought to him. 0-2 pitch on the way. He swings at this one and flies it right to the shortstop, Jimmy Mojica. That was a lazy line drive. Straight at the shortstop. He catches it for out number 2. So 2 outs and nobody on base for Chris Valencia. He is 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts tonight. as well as a couple of flyouts to left field. Dakota Watts looking for save number 12 this year. He's one batter, one out away from doing so. First pitch to Valencia is swung on and missed. On an outside fastball there. Chris Valencia from Torrance, California. Last year played for the Amarillo Sox. Looks at strike 2 called. So he's very familiar with playing against the Air Hogs. Amarillo and Grand Prairie in the same division. Played 14 times last year. No balls and 2 strikes. Watts comes with the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and that ends the game. Watts finishes out the save, his 12th of the year, and the Air Hogs win 7-5 here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Winning pitcher for the Air Hogs is starter Trevor Harden. He moves to 4-1 on the season. And Watts with save number 12. Losing pitcher tonight is Ben Moore. He moves his record to 4-4 this year with Sioux Falls. So the Air Hogs, even this series at 1 apiece, and now take a winning record on the road trip. It's 3-2, and they will look to keep that winning record tomorrow with another series win, as the rubber game is scheduled for 4:05 tomorrow afternoon on Sunday. Slated to start again is Jason Jarvis, the right-hander, against Matt Wickswat, the left-hander for Sioux Falls. So the Air Hogs moved to 22-32 this year, and Sioux Falls now with a record of 21-34. So high fives all around for the Air Hogs as they're victorious tonight on this Saturday evening here in Sioux Falls. Here are your final lines for tonight's game. The Grand Prairie Air Hogs score 7 runs on 10 hits, commit no errors. For the Sioux Falls Canaries, 5 runs, 14 hits, 2 errors in the field. That'll do it here from Sioux Falls. Here is the stadium known as the Birdcage. We'll have our rubber game tomorrow at 4:05 p.m. in the afternoon. Until then, I'm Andy Humphrey. Thank you for tuning in to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball live on Ustream. We'll see you tomorrow for Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball, the rubber game of the series at 4:05 p.m. So long, everyone. From Sioux Falls, South Dakota, you've been listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball.